Welcome back to another OnlineDrummer.com Monday drum lesson. I'm Nate Brown. In this lesson, we're going to go over 3 different beats and 3 ways to write those beats, and then talk about the advantages and maybe some of the disadvantages of each. So we'll start by taking a look at the drum beat from Smells Like Teen Spirit. Now, all 3 of these measures are notating the same drum beat, but it notates it differently or with a different voicing method. So I'll start by just playing this. You can hear that all 3 measures are exactly the same. The first measure uses a voicing method where it places the entire drum beat in one voice. So you can see all the notes are connected together, all the stems are up. That's called single voicing. Some magazines like to use this voicing because you can see that it takes up less space. Method B, or the second measure, you see that now we have some stems that are pointed up and some stems that are pointed down. That's called using 2 voices or grouping into 2 voices. And that's just a really geeky way of saying that there are 2 separate rhythms written on the same staff. And then the third one, which we'll call C, this one has this symbol, or the crash symbol with stems up in the first voice. And then the second voice, or the second rhythm, is stems down. So there's a lot of debate as to which method is best, and it really depends on the situation. Some people use the same method all the time, regardless of the rhythm, regardless of the situation. And that's wrong, because there are some advantages and disadvantages for each method. And there are times when it's most appropriate to use one method over another. In this case, it's kind of easy to see that letter C, or the third one, the cymbal in one voice and the snare and bass in another voice, the cymbal's kind of the passive party there. It's an ostinato, just hitting quarters. And if you look back to the previous 2 examples, it's hard, when you just take a look at the music, it's hard to see that the crash cymbal is hitting quarters. You really have to count it out and look closely to make sure that maybe the crash cymbal isn't, like on a syncopated stroke or something. But on letter C, the active voice, you've got this rhythm. That's what's really making the rhythm. We call that active, and then the passive would just be the quarter. And just by taking a look at it, you can see it's a lot cleaner. There aren't all the rests in there, and it doesn't look like a mess. All right, the second example is from Smoke on the Water, and I'll start by playing this. Remember, all 3 measures are the same, but I'll play straight across. Now, which method is best, letter A, B, or C, or measure 1, 2, or 3? Some people, like I said with the previous example, always use one way regardless. But in this case, letter B, or the second example there, this grouping is the most preferred. And this grouping puts the hands in voice 1, stems up, and the bass drum in voice 2. And it has a lot to do with the active versus passive rhythm. In this case, the bass drum's kind of just doing this 8th note ostinato. And if you look at the first measure or letter A, it's hard to see, just by looking at it, that the bass drum is hitting 8th notes. I mean, you can figure it out, but it doesn't jump out on the page. And the hands are doing the more active. They're working together with this alternating sticking on the hi-hat. And then letter C, or the third way, just by taking a look at it, you can see that it's not ideal. You have to have the addition of some 16th rests. And it's hard to see right away that the hands are working together with each other in an alternating fashion. And then finally, Heathens by 21 Pilots. This is a fun one. I'll play it straight across. And this is what's called a linear beat. This is when no 2 drums hit at the same time, so all the strokes are kind of falling together in a line, and that's why they call it linear. And since they all fall together and work together, it makes the most sense in this case to use method 1 or method A, all single voice, or all notes in a single voice, stems up, connected together. And if you take a look at it, you can see how clean that looks compared to, let's look at B, or the second way. This is with the hands written stems up and bass stems down. You can see that this requires the addition of a lot of rests, and it's not apparent that this is just eighth notes all the way across. When you look at the first measure, you can see, oh, this is all going to be on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 end. So those were 3 examples, each where a different method of transcribing or grouping the voices is preferred. Smells Like Teen Spirit, C, or the third way, is preferred. Smoke on the Water, B, was preferred. And in Heathens, the linear beat, letter A was preferred. Now, this is just an introduction to get you started. Steve Lee has put together a great article that you can read about different voicing structures, and also a cool worksheet along with an answer sheet so that you can check to see if your work is correct. And this worksheet has you do some activities with the 3 different voicings. So thanks to Steve Lee for putting that together. Please take a look at it. Have fun with it throughout December. Remember that this is the last lesson of 2017, and I'll be back in January 2018. Have a great drumming December. See you in January. Keep drumming.